And finally, it's time for another edition of Explaining Jokes to Idiots. The segment where we explain to idiots jokes they missed because they're idiots. And tonight I'd like to examine the reaction to Amy Schumer's new film, I Feel Pretty, which the professionally offended have decided that even though it's a movie by women filmmakers presenting a pro-woman message, it does it the wrong way. Amy helped wrong. Even though she really just remade The Nutty Professor, where someone not thin and not cool magically sees themselves as better looking and gains confidence. Except when Eddie Murphy did it, he didn't have the purity police up his ass. The Hollywood Reporter wrote an article dissecting I Feel Pretty and its questionable message of empowerment. Rolling Stone called it fat-shaming. The Independent, reviewing the trailer, because why wait for the actual movie when you can start your hating 2 months early, wrote that I Feel Pretty seems so offensive, it's frankly exhausting. Exhausted by a movie trailer. I think we've reached peak snowflake. The LA Times asked, wouldn't a bolder, more progressive version of the story have cast a woman of color? Oh, for Christ's sake, can't it just be funny? Can't we just sit in a movie theater, unclench our assholes for 2 hours, and laugh at what it is, instead of dissecting it for what it is not? Movie reviews. They're not even reviews anymore. They're just, how come you made the movie you made and not the one I would have made? If I had talent, which I don't. Some reviews noted that casting Amy as the ugly fat person undermined truly ugly fat people. Bad Amy, not fat enough. Others asked why her self-esteem had to be linked to her physical appearance. And yes, why wasn't the role given to a woman of color? I don't know, maybe because they thought since it's an Amy Schumer movie, they ought to have Amy Schumer in it? Yeah, who wound up, by the way, apologizing for appearing in her own movie. On The View, she said, I recognize that I'm Caucasian. I would love if this movie were starring a woman of color who's had it way harder than me. Yeah, because all goofy comedy should also address the black experience. Like that one where Jennifer Garner grew up overnight. You remember that one? 13 going on 30 years a slave? Life is too complicated to reduce everything to real problems on one side and white problems on the other. You can be white and still have a life where you pray for death. Just ask Melania. Oh, but being white is hardly the only thing Amy did wrong. The New York Post says the film is tone deaf for casting a straight, white, able-bodied blonde. And The Independent concurs, noting the film was flawed because Amy was still blonde, able-bodied, and well-dressed, with all the trappings of Western beauty standards. Yes, she's a traitor to feminism because she wears clothes, has all her limbs, and is hotter than Predator. Comedian Sophie Hagen also noted Amy's able-bodiedness. What is it with this? Adding that she's femme, and yes, thin. She is society's beauty ideal. No, she's precisely not. That's her act, you idiots. But you know who is society's beauty ideal? This one. The one feminists love more than life itself. A 6-foot supermodel in hot pants. Newsflash, people just like the physically attractive better. Sorry. The taller candidate usually wins the election. Studies show the better-looking person, other things being equal, usually gets the job. Even babies prefer to look at attractive faces. Oh, wait till you see the blog I'm going to post tomorrow tearing them a new asshole. Babies. Models are tall and thin because that's what sells clothes. The answer isn't to insist that everyone in society love you exactly the way you are. It's to learn to tell the ones who don't that you don't need them, which is exactly what Amy learns in the movie. Just the way at the end of The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy realizes she didn't have to go on that big acid trip to appreciate what she had at home. When will liberals learn that barking at nothing makes people not want to listen when you actually have something to say? It's no talent to endlessly bitch about what isn't there. Although, I'll tell you, Black Panther should have had more Puerto Ricans.